Let's concentrate now on the forms of dependency on the world political map. Dependent territories include political entities that are hierarchically subordinate to sovereign states, called metropolises. They are subordinated to 13 states called metropolis, including Great Britain, France, the United States, Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, China, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, and Argentina. All the dependent territories are former colonies. However, this term is irrelevant today, as they have evolved from mandated and trust territories to non-self-governing territories. Non-self-governing territories can be categorized in accordance with their incorporation and organization structure. Incorporation means the degree of integration into the administrative and territorial structure of the state. In this respect, dependencies can either be separate or unincorporated, like Danish Greenland, or constitute part of the state, or being incorporated, French Guiana. Organization means the degree of self-government of the territory, or the number of its own political institutions. From this perspective, dependencies can either lack any political institutions of their own, or be unorganized, like Norwegian Svalbard, or exercise the delegated power by themselves, be organized, like American Puerto Rico. This classification was legally assigned to the American non-self-governing territories. However, it can surely be applied to other dependent areas in the world. Look at this scheme as an example. Curaçao, Saint Martin, and Aruba are unincorporated dependent territories of the Netherlands. At the same time, the spatial municipalities of Bonaire, Saint Eustatius, and Saba are located in the Caribbean Sea as far from the mainland as Aruba and others, but they are incorporated into the administrative structure of the Netherlands. They were integrated into the country as ordinary administrative units. Most of today's dependent territories are located on remote islands, and it stands to reason. Their survival fulfills valuable functions in politics. First, they enable ultra-small and remote communities to achieve some kind of statehood. They cannot exercise their right to self-determination in full, to establish full sovereignty, but the state has at least some kind of statehood. Second, they allow controlling water areas which are much bigger than dependent territories themselves. Next, they allow preserving military bases in regions which are far from the metropolis. And they constitute unique biosphere reserves for studying the nature and climate of the planet. Although today's list of non-self-governing territories includes 17 entities, most of them are quite unlikely to invoke their right to self-determination. Some, Gibraltar, Tokelau, and the Falkland Islands, have held referendums only to vote for the status quo. Some, Bermuda, the British and the US Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat, American Samoa, and Guam, enjoy great internal self-government, and referendums are not on their to-do list. And others, St. Helena and Turks and Caicos Islands, Pitcairns, are too small to establish a separate political system. Of 17 non-self-governing territories, only 2 entities, Western Sahara and New Caledonia, are still on the way to independence. On paper, Western Sahara is administered by Spain. However, in 1976, Spain notified the UN of its withdrawal from the territory. This move was followed by Morocco and Mauritania annexation of the country. After Mauritania, in its turn, left Western Sahara, Algeria-backed Polisario Front was established in the Free Zone, which lies to the east of the Moroccan border. In 1991, the civil war between Morocco and Polisario ended with a ceasefire. but a self-determination referendum is still on the to-do list. French New Caledonia, located in the Pacific Ocean, held the first referendum on the question of independence in 1987. Despite people's vote in favor of remaining with France, over the decades, the separatist movement continued to grow in popularity with natives. This eventually forced Paris to give a guarantee of a new self-determination referendum by late 2018 and another one in 2020. On both attempts, New Caledonians cast their ballots for the status quo. There were different colony management styles that affected the nature of relations between the metropolis and the dependent territory. First, participant. Colonies were considered part of a single political system and were administered mainly by European officials. That style provoked the emergence of new elites in the former colonies. The new authorities, after decolonization, created completely different political systems. However, they preserved close cultural ties and the widely spread language of the metropolis. That's the case of Portuguese Empire, French Empire, Spanish Empire. Non-participant. Colonies were seen as separate political systems, with the local population actively engaged in administrating them. The creation of new states occurred more smoothly there, with the new authorities tending to adopt the government model of the former metropolis, for example, the Westminster system. Nevertheless, cultural ties were less strong, and the language of the former metropolis was less popular in such countries, like British Empire, Dutch Empire, Danish Empire. And remote type. The local administration hardly played any role in administrating the state, with most issues tackled in the capital of the empire. As a result, such colonies did not sustain any political or cultural ties with the metropolis after decolonization. This behavior was typical for new empires with lack of experience in managing colonies: the German Empire, the Italian Empire, and the Belgian Empire. The terms direct control for traditional colonies and indirect control for protectorates and vassal states are also used to characterize colony management styles. In the latter case, the state remains formally independent, but it is de facto controlled by the metropolis under the principle of the suzerainty. As stated above, the term dependency is used to describe non-sovereign entities that are subordinated to the sovereign entities. However, the same patron-client relationship is sometimes formed between normal states. Thus, apart from dependent territories, one may refer to dependent states whose relationship with the patron has come to be known as suzerainty. Suzerainty is a principle of political organization which implies vertical or hierarchical relationship between countries. It is distinguished from the principle of sovereignty, which entails equal and separate political systems. Suzerainty is acknowledged to take a number of forms, namely tributary states, vassal states, puppet states, associate states, protectorates, and satellite states or client states. For example, today's world political map shows the following protectorates: France Protectorate of Monaco, Switzerland Protectorate of Liechtenstein, and India's Protectorate of Bhutan. Today, the discourse of dependence is connected more with the concept of spheres of interest. Liberal scholars believe that such spheres constitute a form of neo-colonialism and should be replaced with mutually beneficial and equal integration arrangements, whereas realists hold that they reflect historically formed zones of privileged interest and will remain on the map.